Good morning. This is your sports desk with Liam O'Grady, and I have Jeff Towell here in replacement of Alex today.
Yeah,
Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Liam. Glad to be here, mate.
It's been a week since the AFL season's over.
Yeah.
It's a sad week. It's a sad time in our lives, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, AFL is one of the biggest sports in Australia because of Australian rules. But, I mean, it is going to be sad, but we've got a lot more sport coming up, like the A-League and cricket
Yes. I
around
just
the
want
corner.
to just quickly. It's weird seeing the Bulldogs as premiers.
It's really weird. It doesn't feel like a grand final. It just felt like a really big game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. And I've watched the replay of the grand final a million times. It's because we've never seen the Doggies win it before.
Yeah, and we've never seen them in the grand final
Yeah.
picture.
And just to see him win it, and there's all young players. It was amazing. It's still to this day you can watch it over and over and over again,
I have.
and get the same excitement.
I did. I recorded it and I'm still watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a shame that
Oh,
Von Murphy gave back his
yeah.
medal to Luke Beveridge.
The DVDs have sold out, both of the,
They're true.
especially the road to the finals.
Oh,
that
wow.
will sell out all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the biggest clubs in the AFL, like the Eagles in Perth and the Hawks here and the Giants.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I can't. Is it really sold out?
yeah. I went to JB and I've looked at the Hellsum website just because I've ordered the premiership poster actually, and
Oh,
it's
right.
all sold out. Yeah. So let's get straight into the biggest summer sport. Well, the second biggest summer sport, the A-League,
Right. Yeah.
and
Which has grown spectacularly in the last decade.
it has, and it was a big first round as well. We'll start off with Melbourne Victory versus Brisbane. It was a one-all draw,
Yeah.
which you expect with soccer.
Yeah.
I think it was a lucky draw with Austin kicking the goal in the 83rd minute. I even thought Victory was home. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then Luke Devar scored in the 96th minute.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing, and that was in injury time as well.
Yeah, it's.
I think that's one of the things why the A League's so cool to watch because anything can happen in the final seconds.
I know I'm going to get back to AFL, but that kind of reminded me of the West Coast GWS game where Nui kicked the winning goal in the 39th minute.
Exactly.
Because if it was 92nd minute, you understand, but 96 means a long injury time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go over the Saturday, Melbourne City defeated Wellington. The Sydney Derby, Sydney 4, Western Sydney 0.
Yeah. That was disappointing.
It was an absolute flogging. And then over in Perth, Perth scored the first 3 goals of the game, and Central Coast kicked the last 3 goals of the game to get another 3-all draw.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but was that Taggart who scored those?
Taggart scored the first 2, and then Castro scored the third for Perth.
Right. Yeah.
And then Rory O'Donovan scored 2, and Blake Powell
Yeah.
kicked 1 as well. So I remember I was actually on Twitter because I was watching the Fremantle Best and First, and I was checking stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because when they did the live stream, they didn't want to show the leaderboard.
Yeah.
It was weird. And I know a guy, and he was like, "Oh, go Glory 3-0 up," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, they've got it."
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. And then we go over the Sunday, the Newcastle drew with Adelaide, the reigning premiers. Wayne Brown kicked the goal, and Mark Aronis. Mark Aronis kicked the goal. And means nothing, but the ladder at the end of round 1, Sydney and Melbourne are the top 2, the only 2 wins. Then from Central Coast down to Newcastle, both on draws, and Wellington and Western Sydney on 0.
Yeah.
With any season, the first round really means nothing.
Well, it doesn't, but I mean, consistency is a big thing. So if FC can maintain, if they can keep winning the next 2 or 3 games, then that would help them out towards the middle of the season. 'Cause that's when it gets tough when you go to the mid-season transfers. But I mean, it's all about the goal difference at the moment. They need to score more goals to get higher up in the ladder, and they need to stay there, of course.
Yeah, and the Western Sydney Wanderers, who were runners-up last year,
Right.
and I think they finished last year before. I can't.
Yes. No, not last year. The year before that.
Yeah, because they lost 2 grand finals, finished last, and then lost another grand final.
Yeah.
So it's been a very interesting start for the Wanderers.
Well, they did win the Asian Premier League, the Asian Champions Leagues in between all that.
you sound like a Collins supporter now. We won. We did win in 1985.
We did one. We are the only team that won the Asian Champions League. But
I know Sydney in their first season they won. It wasn't the Asian Champions League they went to. They went to another league, and I know Sydney FC won.
possibly, yeah.
I just can't remember what league it was at the top of my head.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a tough start for them. But there are how much? Do you know how much rounds are in the A League? About 30. Isn't it?
27.
Is it 27?
Yeah.
Oh, it used to be 30. But yeah, it was. So there's 27 rounds in the A League. So there's a lot of room for improvement, and also the transfers in the middle of the season that can also assist the Wanderers. But watching that game. I'm not a big fan of the Wanderers goalkeeper, Andrew Redmayne.
Is it because he let four past him, or
Well, yeah, but I mean, like he showed to me. I'm not sure why he was played in that game. I'm not sure why he's the first goalkeeper. But I mean, he showed a lot of inconsistencies last season.
yeah?
But I mean, he's just doing some simple stuff like he's not on his line. He doesn't really know how to anticipate where the ball's gonna go, and there's just a whole lot of things that aren't really working for him at the moment. So I would like to see them use a different. Maybe, you know what? Give him another game next week. If he still is making those common mistakes, I would go with my second goalkeeper.
I 100% agree. But overall, it was a good first round of the A-League.
Yeah, it was
26 rounds to go.
very interesting that the Sydney Derby broke the record of attendance.
And yeah, it was smashed the attendance. And it was also, I should have mentioned that. And it was good crowd behaviour. There was a few incidents at the end of the game.
Right, yeah.
But before the game and throughout the game, then they said it was great crowd behaviour from both teams.
Well, I think it's time that we started trusting the crowd when we're watching the A-League.
Yeah. And now it's on Sports Desk on Sin. This is the Sports Desk here on Sin with Liam and Jeff. And now that the AFL season's over, it's time for the silly season to begin.
Yep.
And this one seems to be bigger than ever, I'll say. I can't remember a trade period being as many players as this involved.
Yeah, no, and I think it's probably because of the free agencies. That is a factor. But I mean, it's been in the last couple of years we've seen a lot of massive trades. So don't be surprised if you see a rabbit out of a hat, I guess.
What's the biggest one this year? Because there's a lot.
Oh, there are a lot of ones. I mean,
so I know there's no Dangerfield. There's no,
Yeah.
Dangerfield moving clubs or Buddy Franklin moving clubs.
I mean, it's a big call, but I mean, O'Meara is a big one because everyone keeps saying he's a future Brownlow Premiership player. So you think it would be an amazing win if someone could get him?
I know he's dominated Hawthorn, but I know Gold Coast is playing hardball. If Essendon wants to offer up the number one draft pick, he's gone to Essendon.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that is a big step for the Bombers. I don't think they wouldn't give up a big high draft pick.
Especially on someone who hasn't played a game in 2 years.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know where his health is at. I mean, he has some problems.
That's actually it raises a bigger question, especially for the younger players. Now you got the players who's played 7 seasons who now have free agency and just walk out. Who should have more power, the club or the players?
Well, if it's free agency, the players. I mean, you get to a point in your career when you can. I mean, it is your career in the end. So I think it's up to you. You have to go with whatever club you feel comfortable, whatever club can accommodate you the best.
See,
But I mean, with the younger players, I don't think they have that privilege. I think it's more about the club.
I don't think they deserve to have the privilege. I know it sounds mean, but I don't think O'Meara has been out for 2 years, and I think I've been very critical of O'Meara, especially with all the shows we've done together.
Yeah.
He hasn't played in 2 years. Gold Coast has spent so much time and effort trying to get his knee right, and then he leaves the club. And then a few people have been negative with Gold Coast of being annoyed. Gold Coast lose players left, right and centre. And unlike GWS, how GWS loses players all the time, GWS can accommodate for the players, but Gold Coast can't.
And I mean, I'm not sure what the facilities are like at the Gold Coast Suns, but I trust it wouldn't be amazing because, I mean, it's in Gold Coast. I mean, how many people go watch a Gold Coast game in Gold Coast?
I think the Gold Coast facilities will be amazing after the Commonwealth Games.
Pardon me?
Once the Commonwealth Games next year, 2018.
Yeah.
So once those finish, I think Gold Coast will have much better facilities.
Right, yeah.
Because they'll use the leftover stadiums. They will pretty much do what Collingwood just done with the Holden Centre.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, does Sydney looks like they have an incredible amount of hope in becoming one of the next big state of Aussie rules. Because I mean, they got 60,000 people, actually maybe more than that, at ANZ during the final, Sydney versus Giants.
And they had 2 teams, sorry to cut you off, they have 2 teams playing in the prelim final.
Of course, and then they sold out. The Giants sold out a preliminary. So, I mean, they're just looking like they have all the hope in the world, while the Suns just look like they're diminishing as soon as they got into the league.
We'll start off with the free agency and trade. We'll start with the Gold Coast. And Gold Coast, 2 teams that are going to get a lot of players, and that's Gold Coast and Fremantle. One's a short deal. You'll give or take pretty much a short deal. Pierce Hanley.
Right.
More than likely going to be heading off to the Gold Coast.
Yes.
Gold Coast want a good player for O'Meara. I know Hawthorn wants to give him a draft pick, but they want a player. The most likely candidate, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this as well, Luke Bruce.
Right, yes, I have heard that.
But I think also another issue with that is Luke Bruce is from New South Wales. And Tom Mitchell has been reported is going to ask Sydney today to be traded to Hawthorn.
Yes.
So maybe a swap from Bruce to Sydney.
Yeah.
That could be another possibility.
Yeah.
I heard recently with the big trade I just spoke to you about before, Andrew Swallow,
Of
who
course.
just recently stepped down as captain. There might be a reason behind that now. This also fuels my speculation with the Andrew Swallow, because I was looking at Michael Barlow from Fremantle, and then the day after the North Melbourne Best and Fairest, Swallow stepped down, they've stopped having interest in Barlow.
Yes.
So that I know that just my theory about AFL is if there's a rumour, there's truth behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about who starts those rumours, but once it gets talking, then it becomes true. Then it becomes a possibility in the end. But I want to talk to you. I mean, I was thinking myself on the way here about trades and what teams needs, and I just remember when Paul Roos went into the Melbourne Demons. I mean, that team was in disarray. I mean, they didn't have consistency in any area when Paul Roos first came in.
I am just before you can continue.
Yeah.
Let's say, you know how Jesse Hogan signed last week.
Of course.
If
yeah.
it was 2013, I think it was when Paul Roos came in, he would have left.
Probably, yeah, because they were terribly inconsistent.
Mm.
But I mean, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about what Paul Roos did about the team, and I think he's only got like a handful of players that when he came to the club, they're still there because he's traded a lot. I mean, is it time for Damien Hardwick to start doing that, to start trading? Because I think, in my opinion, that team is all over the place.
Well,
I didn't see a solid team there.
They've already lost one player. Tyrone Vickery's gone. Richmond decided not to match Hawthorn's offer,
Right,
which
yeah.
is $1 million for 2 years. That's a big gamble.
I mean, on the Hawks' part, I don't think he's worth that much. He hasn't had
No.
that good of a year this year.
It's $500,000 a year. That's
That's. I would never offer him that much. I mean, I reckon maybe something like $410 is the max for me. $410,000 I think would be a good price for Tyrone, but I mean, I don't know. I would have never gone with $500,000. I think that's splashing cash.
But then that's an issue with Hawthorn. How the hell? I know people question Sydney with their salary cap, but they're also looking to get Jago O'Meara and Tom Mitchell, who both won't come cheap.
Of course.
Plus, they've re-signed all their veterans, and I think Hawthorn had their time again. They probably would have let 2 or 3 of them go.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you got to remember they did win the past 3 grand finals, not counting this year, of course, and they didn't make the last 4. So I mean, they would have memberships going up, sponsorships, etc.
But every club has a $10 million salary cap.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, maybe some players took a pay cut. We didn't know about it, but a lot of factors take into place.
The biggest trade, I think, of the year, I think 2 of them. Tom Rockcliffe from Brisbane,
All right.
who's been, I don't know if you've checked the media, he's been in a bit of trouble lately, especially with some sexist comments on Twitter.
Right, I haven't caught up to date with that.
But he's pretty much on his way to Adelaide, being rumoured.
Okay, yeah.
And 4 weeks ago when I heard it or something like that, I was like, captain should leave. And now I'm like, it might be best for Brisbane.
Mm.
And the biggest one, and which just talk at the moment, but you know what I say about talk.
Yeah.
Dustin Martin. Adelaide's also looking at Dustin Martin, going to offer him a lot of money.
I'm not sure about that because Dustin Martin, I mean, he's a terrific player, but I mean, didn't we have this conversation last season?
Yeah, I think we did.
When it came down to, who was it, like the Cats and the Giants, I think it was, and he didn't leave. I don't think Dustin Martin's going to leave the Tigers.
I don't think so too, but if it does go through, which will be massive, it will be, massive if Dustin Martin.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're Damien Hardwick and you're getting ready to scout, because I mean, they've been getting a lot of criticism lately because no one really thinks that they're getting quality players into their team. But I mean, do you go with draft picks for the trade, or would you go with some little bit more experienced players? What do you think?
I know
it's a little bit of 50-50 because they have been bringing in, I like to call them, it might be a little bit offensive, but a little bit like second-hand players. I mean, they brought in like Griggs and Hooley and those types of guys. Is it time that they went for a younger team and got some fresh players in?
I think they should rebuild, yeah. We'll talk about the big trade rumor I heard yesterday after this here on Sports Desk. Here on the Sports Desk on SYN. And we're still back here with some trade news. And there was a big rumor last night dropped by, I won't say a reliable source, but it has made the rounds. It's a massive 4-way trade. We'll start off with Hawthorn. They get Jago O'Meara from the Gold Coast plus pick 41. And the big one, North Melbourne will get Jack Revolt plus pick 14. Gold Coast will get Andrew Swallow and Luke Bruce plus pick 6. And Richmond gets Dion Prestia plus pick 11 and pick 22.
I'm sorry, I didn't see Jack Revolt going to North Melbourne.
Neither do I, but that's also, I know Revolt and Deledio have been rumoured to move, and I think Deledio will swap. I know Deledio might move for Motlop, so Motlop might be heading over to Richmond.
Yep.
And Deledio might be heading off to Geelong.
Right, yeah. But I mean, did North Melbourne, because they got Majak Door and they got
Yeah, Ben Brown.
Ben Brown.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
And I mean, I don't think that's smart trading in my opinion. I mean, why would you get another forward when you have prepared for you a good forward ruckman combination? That's not complicated at all. I think Jared Waite he hasn't left.
Yeah, he's still got one more year left.
He's still got one more year. I don't think they need Jack Rewalt. And I mean, I don't think Jack Rewalt's not a young guy anymore.
No, I think he's mid-20s, 27.
20. Yeah, you don't really need him. You know, he's not there for your future. He's not the missing link. You don't need another forward in there.
North Melbourne needs to rebuild. I'm still surprised that Jared Waite's playing on next year.
And I mean, if you really think about it, with Dale Sando and Harvey and Ferrito, you might need some legs in that team.
Yeah.
You might need some running power.
And then another club that's going to be busy this trade period is the Fremantle Dockers.
Mm-hmm.
The two big names, of course, is Bradley Hill from Hawthorn.
Yes.
Which during Hawthorn's best and fairest, Isaac Clarkson said, Bradley Hill came. I know there's issues, incidents where players who trade or get the listers don't show up.
Yeah.
Like Cloak didn't show up to Collingwood's best and fairest.
Oh, right, yeah.
But Clarkson goes, the only reason why I'm letting you go is because of family. And he goes, he loves you like a son.
Yeah, I mean...
Hawthorn's a close... As much as people give Hawthorn hate, they are a very tight group.
Yeah, and I mean, there is old stories about Clarkson wanting to go one-on-one with Lloyd after Lloyd took out Stool. What year was that? That was
2009, yeah.
9, yeah. So, I mean, his bond with that team is amazing.
But honestly, I think that is what... Oh, well, actually makes sense because Beveridge was under Clarkson. I think that's what Beveridge had with his club as well. Very tight-knit, you know.
And I mean, all the successful coaches have had that bond. I mean, Kevin Sheedy had that bond with his 2000 and 90 and the 80s and the 93 teams. And Lee Matthews had it in the early 2000s.
The only coach I don't think has the bond is Nathan Buckley. Talking about coach, I don't think Buckley has that bond with his players.
Really? Why is that?
Because you always hear about the players who played under Motthouse, and they don't seem to be the biggest fan of Buckley.
Right, yeah.
Back to Freo, though. Cam McCarthy, who they wanted to get last year,
yes,
is rumored to give up pick 3. They don't have a second round pick, so if they give up pick 3, they don't get picked to the third round.
Yeah, I don't think that's a smart deal.
But I think they might get Cam McCarthy in pick 7.
Okay.
Then they're looking Aaron Black from North Melbourne, a forward.
Right.
Which fills in with our Jack Riewoldt point. He's been looking to go to Fremantle, but I don't think Fremantle want him as much as he wants to go to Fremantle.
But I mean, he can't go on his own terms, can he?
Oh, him and North Melbourne's already parted ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You got Shane Kirsten from Geelong, which is I've heard last night, which is a done deal.
Where's he want to go?
Fremantle.
Fremantle.
Yeah, these are all Fremantle.
Okay.
And that's pretty much a late draft pick for him. And then you got Joel Hamling, who played on Buddy Franklin in the grand final, and he's a bit torn. He wants to stay with the Bulldogs, but if Bob Murphy and all those other players played, he will not be in the grand final.
And I mean, let's talk a little bit more about Shane Kirsten. I mean, the Cats really put a lot into him for him to play. I remember hearing a long time ago that the reason why they were looking to get rid of Chapman is so they could give Kirsten more playing time in the AFL. So, I mean...
And he played the first 13 games. I think he played 2 more for the rest of the season.
Was it known why he wants to go to Perth? Because
just homesickness.
Is it home? Yeah, because, I mean, why would you want to leave the Cats? Because they're in a good position at the moment. They made a prelim. Sure, they didn't play their best in that prelim, but they still made it.
Well, watching Freo's best and fairest, I know it's going to sound very biased for me, and I don't think it would, because I'm been very tight on Freo, especially this year.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah.
But they've gone into this season with a bit of confidence.
Of course.
By this preseason, and they think they can win it. I can't say I think they can win it, but they think they can win it.
Yeah.
Let's talk. The last trade we'll probably talk about is the Travis Cloak one.
It's an interesting one.
I think this is one of the things where you go. You need $100 to buy. You need $100, for your mum.
Yeah.
And you see something that costs $60, and you're like, "Oh, I should get it, but will I not have enough?" And you get it, and then you regret it.
Yeah.
But you still go along with getting it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Doggies are doing with Travis Cloak, because when the Cloak rumour started, Boyd was suspended.
Yeah. And I remember when the rumours first started, my thought was they need a tour in that forward line. They need someone to take a mark and kick a goal. But I mean, I think everyone's opinion on whether or not Cloak is needed with the Western Bulldogs kind of change once they won the grand final, once they won the premiership, because they kind of go, oh well, they've won the premiership and he wasn't in that team. Is he really that crucial?
And Tom Boyd stepping up and Cramery coming back.
Cramery coming back. I mean, it raises a lot of questions that weren't raised when the rumours first started.
Yeah, like I said, Tom Boyd was suspended, and he was in there, and there was rumours that he would be the trade for Cloak.
Yeah.
And then he's gone out, played the best final series out of probably any Bulldog.
Which is now looking like a great trade for the Magpies.
And the only issue for Boyd now with the Doggies as a player, that's now his form. Like if Boyd plays 2 bad games, I'll be like, oh, what happened to his grand final form?
Yeah.
Was he a one-hit wonder? I think that form from Boyd he played a bit like Buddy. I know
what you mean.
Apart
Pushed
from-
up through the middle of the ground, took some strong marks.
I know. The only thing I'm going to say he'll be better than Buddy at was that he rucks,
Yes.
which I've spoken about, and I picked up on that. It's going to be the new generation of forward backman ruckman.
And I mean, Boyd kind of came out of nowhere with his form, but I think the question is if the Bulldogs are not interested in Travis Cloak and Travis Cloak is looking to leave the Magpies, where does Travis Cloak go from here?
I know the Doggies are still interested in him. That's why I'm pretty sure he'll be the first deal done today.
Okay.
Like a 4th round draft pick.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how he's going to fit. I know he might. Would you really want him to even train Boyd up? Because Boyd.
I mean, if I was Luke Beveridge, I wouldn't want to get rid of Boyd. He had an amazing final series.
No, they're not getting rid of Boyd anymore. It was just talk at the time.
Yeah.
That they could be getting rid of Boyd. But yeah, I think there's a bit of issues going on now with the Cloak thing.
Their VFL team won the grand final, so you wouldn't want to get rid of a young player because the young players are going to be the players in about 3 or 4 years, or even earlier than that, knowing how the Bulldogs like to set up their teams. So, I mean, if I was Luke Beveridge, I would say to myself, why would I need Travis Cloak in my team? He's old. He hasn't been playing that well for the last couple of seasons. He was dropped from the senior team many times this season. I don't think Luke Beveridge should really take the time out of his day to trade Cloak to his team.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But then, what if Cloak turns around next year, kicks 80, and Doggies go on and win the premiership? Then it'll be a completely different story.
Yeah, it will be a different story. But I mean, and is it going to be one of those things when they're going to stop the playing style of sharing the ball around and they're just going to keep going to Travis Cloak? I mean, there's a lot of questions that need to be raised. Because we know having a dominant forward in your team is key to having a successful team. But I mean, sometimes teams overthink it and they always go to that forward. So I'm interested to know, is it going to affect their playing style? Is it going to affect their run?
I can see this is a positive. Like against GWS,
Yeah.
when Roughhead went out and Boyd had to ruck most of the game,
Yeah.
that's when I was like, a Cloak would be brilliant.
Yeah.
In the grand final, when Roughhead and Boyd were rucking, they have Stringer who's 191, but he's not a dominant tall.
No, he's more of just run and hand pass it. Yeah.
Cramery's only 180, isn't he? He's 189 or something. He's still a medium forward.
Yeah, he is.
So I understand the whole two.
And Cramery's more of a half forward flank than he is a forward. You know what I mean? He's more of running it through on the 50-metre arc.
So the big question is who will miss out in their forward line?
Yeah, I mean it is a tough one, and I mean I really don't want to see Luke Beveridge trade out a young guy. I mean if for anything, trade out a pick.
Yeah.
You don't really need a.
They are 4th round draft pick.
Yeah, I mean they don't really need a pick in their team at the moment because they do have a strong group. Not meaning 22 guys, I mean like 30 plus. You know what I mean? They have a strong group of guys there. So I mean if you're really really eager to get Travis Cloak into your team, which I don't think they really need him, then trade out a pick. Don't trade out a player because they've got a lot of amazing players in that team.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how it goes actually. Well, clubs know better than we do, so
yeah. Of course.
After this, we'll go through the sports around the world here on the Sports Desk on SYN. Here on the Sports Desk with Liam, and I've got Jeff filling in today.
Yeah. Good to be here. Been a while since it's been on SYN. 3 weeks. Anyway, go on.
We'll start off with the cricket, shall we?
Yep.
And another poor performance by the Aussies, losing their 4th one day in a row against South Africa. Aussies got off to a poor start, only scoring 100 and all that for 167. And South Africa made quick work of it. In total, they were 4 for 168. South Africa winning by 6 wickets. There's something wrong with Australian cricket at the moment.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, they're a weird one. They play terrifically in Australia, but they have a lot of inconsistencies overseas. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they can dish up when they come back home.
Australia's best batting performance was Matthew Wade, who scored a total of 52. Apart from that, apart from Marsh scoring 50, everyone else probably didn't get past 10.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Or was poor batting performance in our part in that case?
And Kyle Abbott for South Africa picked up 4 wickets, and we go over to the South African one.
Well, he's an amazing player though. Have you seen him play, Abbott?
Yeah, he's good.
Oh, he is so good to watch. I can't wait to see him when he comes down here.
Then you got Francis de la Palsy.
Yeah.
Scored 69 off 87 balls. And the best bowling performance was Christopher Termaine. It's good, got 2 wickets. But yeah, poor performance by the Aussies. They're now 0-4.
Yeah, I mean...
They should have won their last one day when they scored 372.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, they should have... Hope they can pick it up when they come back home. Well, it's going to be soon. The cricket's going to be starting up again in Australia pretty soon. Summer's just around the corner.
Let's go over to some basketball. But this is an Australian one. The Brisbane Bullets has poor start to their return to the NBL, losing their first 2 games. And the top seed of last year, Melbourne United, also 0-2. But we do have the Illawarra Hawks. Oh, sorry, I lied. Brisbane Bullets have won their first 2 games. My bad.
Give him a little bit of credit.
Apologise there, Brisbane. And then the Illawarra Hawks are also played 1-1. And last year's champions, Perth Wildcats, are 1-1 after 2 games.
Fantastic.
I like the Australian basketball. It should get more
Publicity.
They need an NBA feel to it. But
I think it's just... I mean, it shouldn't be a factor, but I think it is. I think it's just a little bit they don't have enough showmanship.
yeah, they don't have the
They
big
don't
name
have-
players.
Yeah, and they need some more music, I think, some more lights in the way. Like, they just need that little bit of a showbiz type thing to it. To make it not just sport, but pull in that entertainment factor that the US have done so
I know
well.
in the new NBA game they've got the Boomers as in a playable team. So
Yeah.
maybe in the next 5 years, because I know NBA has some Euro leagues now with some
Yeah.
European team. So hopefully they can get the NBL in the next 5 years in the game, which will get international publicity.
Yeah.
And I know Australia's performance in the Olympics would also help.
And I mean, where is it being broadcast? I want to know because I remember a while ago it was Channel 1, then it got moved to Channel 10.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still Channel 10.
Channel 10. And I mean, another thing is because Melbourne is the capital of sport.
Yeah.
So it's and I would love to see the basketball be put on at night, but then again, you have to compete with the cricket and the A-League. So it's just they're in a really tough position competing with a lot of amazing codes.
I know the reason why A-League's in the in the summer. One, because it goes well with the other soccer seasons.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want to go head-to-head with AFL and NRL. That's...
Yeah, you really don't want to go. And plus, it's going to be hard to get stadium space.
Yeah.
I mean, because Melbourne Storm plays at AAMI Park, and that's where Melbourne Victory play, along with Etihad Stadium. And we all know that the AFL now owns AFL's...
Etihad Stadium, yeah.
Etihad Stadium. So it's going to be... And, I mean... And... Etihad Stadium is actually, it's kind of for the AFL, it was built for it.
Yeah.
So it's just, space is very tight in Australia, so it's going to be hard to really promote basketball if you don't really have those key time slots.
And also we've got now the Bathurst 1000 that was on yesterday. Jamie Whincup got pole position on Saturday.
Yep.
And the winner turns out to be William Davis and Jonathan Webb, who ended up winning Bathurst 1000.
Wow, okay.
I really wish I knew a lot more about racing, but for me it's just a lot of cars going around a track.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd love to get into it, I just can't.
And they do a weird thing when they drink the champagne, I think, out of a boot, which is a little bit
All I know
awkward.
is that there's more than just holding them forward. I know for years it was just holding them forward,
Yeah.
and now there's more. But Holden did win, so I
Right,
knew that. But yeah, he won his first. That was his first ever Bathurst win. So congratulations to both of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, and now let's go to America. Let's go to the States.
Because we all know that they're big in sport. They love their
Yes.
sports over there.
At the moment, we've got some live action in the NFL with Atlanta leading Denver, 23-13.
Yeah.
We'll go over to Cincinnati trailing Dallas 7-28. San Diego is losing. It's trailing Oakland, 24-27 at the start of the third, and Buffalo Bulls, losing to the LA Rams 23. So leading the LA Rams 23-16. So all these games apart from once in the third, And starting in 11:30 our time, the New York Giants are playing the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, wow. American football, gridiron is an amazing sport to watch. I mean, they always pack the stadiums out.
Yeah.
What's amazing about the US is that it's kind of like every team has their own stadium. A little bit like the English Premier League. They all have their own stadium.
And apart from the two New York teams, it's pretty much because there's so many states. So
It's
you got
50 states.
yeah.
Yeah.
it works. But it's better than AFL. We only have the few states.
Yeah, I mean, like we got 10 teams in Melbourne for Aussie rules, and we got 2 stadiums to accommodate both teams.
And I do agree.
We
I
don't
do
really
agree
have
that we should have a third.
Sorry.
We should have a third for the Bulldogs, Saints.
Yeah, but I think that should be a small stadium.
Yeah, a 30,000 seat one.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I don't know why they got rid of Princess Park. I thought that was a great stadium. I know they got rid of Waverley
Yeah.
because of train lines. There was very much little was it transport to get there. So
Yeah, I
I know
mean-
that's why they got rid of that stadium.
I mean, there was. You think we can be more flexible now that the AFL finally owns Etihad Stadium? I got no idea what that means for the future for the other codes. I don't know how everything's gonna work. Who's gonna be running it? I got not a lot of knowledge in what the AFL is gonna do with the future of Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, because they could be real bad people and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
let Victory, Storm.
I really don't. Well, business wise, it wouldn't be a great move. But I mean, I'm curious to know how everything's gonna operate under the AFL. But I mean, there's been talks about. I mean, Eddie Maguire wanted to build a stadium.
Eddie Maguire for years have wanted to build up Victoria Park for Collingwood and make it a big
Yeah.
stadium. Oh, that's been his goal for years, but now that's not going to happen. But
Do we have the space in Victoria? I mean, they're building another stadium in Perth. It's 60,000 seats.
oh, we'll have another. You always find space.
Unless they demolish an old field
Yeah.
and then they rebuild it up. But I mean, Vic Park is a good idea.
Yeah,
I think.
I think Princess Park, like when they played Essendon in the preseason this year, it was,
Well,
packed.
I don't know if Carlton are willing to give up some space for
Yeah,
that.
That's
Because
true.
they tore down a stand and put in like a training center and a gym over there.
And that's usually a lot of stadiums now, training facilities.
I mean, yeah, go after something like I want to do it in Windy Hill just because of the location. I don't think it's a good location to put a footy stadium. You should be more in the city. But I mean, you know what I mean. But like, use a place that it's not really being used a lot now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, as we said before, the AFL trade period has started up today. So, that's going to be on for a good 2 weeks. The A-League started up. Cricket's heading back to Australia for the summer.
Yeah.
And a lot has happened in the world of sport. This has been Sport Desk. Thank you very much, Jeff, for joining me today.
No, thanks for having me, Liam. Wish you all the best in the season.
Thank you very much. And this has been, Sport Desk on SYN.